SACE, we now have new manifestation forms. The state SELPA IE template for manifestation determination. I think you guys will find it's much simpler. It's now just one form. 2 pages. Walks you right through the process. We need to determine if we want to accept this, so that then through our SAFE system, it becomes part of our paperwork.
I mean, I was, last year when I updated the IEP manual, I went to Amy and said, okay, you're on site, you do actually fill out these forms. I can't even figure out how to write directions for it. There's like forms for the forms. The way our current manifestation determination pages, and we were going to go ahead and have a committee put together and everything, but if we do a separate form and SACE, we pay, is it $2,000 or $3,000?
It's set up and then it's 6%.
So, you know, and clearly, I don't think any of you have any love for our current form. There's not a whole lot of ways to do this.
It's pretty awkward. Well, and actually, we did have a committee, a subcommittee off of the site council, spent time looking at all the different forms from our neighboring districts and SELPAs. The state form being one of them, and this was one of the top forms that committee also looked at. When Joan came to me and said, hey, looks like SACE company is going to be changing from the Orange County forms to this form, what do you guys think? And I said, amazingly enough, site council really liked this format, and that they would recommend us doing it. So if what we need to do is make that recommendation so we can get it part of our IEP. Then through site council, and Jen doesn't even know all this yet, we will, well, we've already talked about doing training, but I'll be doing a training and we'll be doing some trainings on the form as well as the process. That's always a hot topic for people, and so those will be coming up, and if this gets accepted.
The only thing I don't see on here, is a quick glance, the other form is like 2 font, and this is a little larger. On the signature pages, there's 2 signature pages on our current forms that has each team member saying they agree or disagree. Is that not a requirement or not needed?
It's not a requirement.
Okay, so that's just, it's kind of redundant, so, okay.
Right.
And then if we agree to this, how long does it take?
Yeah, I mean, the
to make
parent
it
has to
available?
agree or disagree.
Exactly.
They have that right.
Well,
but
I
your
always
team
wondered,
members-
because we had a team member who would say they don't agree, and I'm going,
Well,
oh,
I
thank
can
you very
always
much.
write something.
Bottom line with an IEP team, because this is an IEP process, that there should be consensus. I mean, it's not a vote, 1 vote per person, so it's a consensus. And so the school team, under consensus, needs to be able to make a recommendation. If there isn't consensus, then it falls on the administrative designee to make the recommendation of the district, keeping in mind all of that information. Yes, there's certain steps and processes with manifestation, when a parent disagrees, etc. And again, we'll have some trainings on that coming up, and I'm thinking of some creative things to do with that I think will be really good. So
then how long would it take if we agreed to this?
I'll have to check with SACE because sometimes they're backed up, but given they already have this form programmed, it should not take very long. And then I would, once I find out from them, we'll send an email out to you. You can alert your teams because I know they get confused when they expect to see one form and they don't.
And our phone blows off the hook because I'm thinking a week.
So, you know, if you are meeting with them, you can tell them it's coming up.
right.
You know, but
And hopefully the training will be able to get done this fall. As soon as this is up and running, then I'll get it scheduled.
Can I just ask a question? So on this box, because I know it's going to come up, evaluation and diagnostic results, does that mean that the student is up for expulsion, or they've been suspended for more than 10 days? Is that what they did right then, or are they going to start listing what happened a year ago?
That would be your review of records. There's no requirement to do assessment at a manifestation determination.
So that's a review of records.
Yes, so what you're doing, did you review? When you're determining this, the team has considered. So you're considering evaluations and diagnostic results. Old, or in some cases, we have had to do new because there was a question on eligibility. But for the most part, it's gonna be a review of records. You're gonna have an observation of the student.
No, I know, but evaluation and diagnostic results, that sounds like more formalized assessment. And they're going to look at that and they're gonna just ask, the question's gonna come up, when we're doing a manifestation determination, is that best practices and is that what they're asking us for? Or are they gonna say, see psych report from 2 years ago?
They're gonna say see psych report.
So could we put the word prior, oh wait, we don't wanna change it because it's
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, we
So
don't
that might
change
be
it.
part of the
I just
change.
know as this comes out, I'm gonna get asked this
And
question.
we'll write up, I mean, when this comes out,
Yeah.
All
we'll
right, you're
do
gonna,
an IEP manual page about this that will
Perfect.
replace the previous one, so we can,
oh, okay, because I'm gonna get questions, I just wanna make sure that.
And that's why we wanna have a training and go through it. This is actually a lot more similar to what I used to use in Riverside way too often, their self-help. And so we
Yeah,
can
I mean,
clear
they
some
took
of
out that requirement to do an evaluation.
I know, but many
Right.
times you have to do a VAS because you're really trying to decide, does that look like a new
If
area of
you've
suspected
gone ahead and
disability?
done any new ones, you would include in
Those.
here.
The social
You know, if you're
emotional is
looking
something
at
that'll come
changing
up.
placement, you probably would have gone forward and done some further evaluation.
Okay.
But, you know, you may not have done a complete reassessment.
Right.
Yeah, and a lot of the requirements with the manifestation changed a few years back, and it's really looking at what we know today, so. But we'll have a whole training on that. So, do we have a recommendation to go forward? Take this as a recommendation. Superintendents? Thumbs up? Anyone opposed? Questions? All right.
2010-11 due process summary.
Okay, well, last year started out really great. Last year ended busy, that's all I'm gonna say. We had a total of 42 filings. That includes cross filings, district filings, or parent filings, and mediation only filings. I've broken it down for everyone. It's actually pretty similar, a little bit heavier than the year before, but very similar, especially with the breakdown between district and parent. A few more parent ones. The big change last year, if you look, unilateral placements, either for services or actually schools, went up last year. Still looking pretty good. We had 7 that were withdrawn before they even went to mediation. We had 10 resolved in resolution, 15 in mediation, 4 more post-mediation prior to hearing, and we only had 1 hearing last year. And actually, that wasn't even something that was filed that year, it was something that was kicked back from another filing years ago. More than half did not have any attorney involvement. I handle on my own from the SELPA. I handle on my own with you guys, because they were those kinds of cases that we could. So, we still have 5 cases held over from, that's now down, I think, down to 3 from the prior year. And this is July to July, so July 1, 2010 to July 1, well, June 30th, 2011 is not where I counted them. So, a little increase, just like it appears that statewide there was a slight increase. I don't have the data to totally look at that, but there seems to be a statewide increase happening, but not a major increase. Pretty much status quo. Any questions? Okay.
The SELPA is required to monitor state compliance complaints to see if there are any systemic errors that would need to be addressed in our districts, either across all districts or within a particular district. And so I went through the 17 state compliance complaints that were filed last year. And 4 of these complaints were withdrawn before even being investigated, so 13 complaints actually went forward to CDE to be investigated. Many of the complaints have more than one issue. So there were a total of 33 issues that were raised in the compliance complaints. The districts were found to be in compliance on 17 of the issues, so a little over half the time the district was already in compliance. And then they were out of compliance on the other half of the issues. When we looked at where the districts were found to be out of compliance, failure to adhere to timelines for IEP meetings or assessment plans was the #1 issue. And I know, some of these are very short timelines, but that is probably an area, we really need to go ahead and make sure we're adhering to our timelines and getting those done. Failure to implement the IEP in 4 cases, and for the most part, most of these were not services, but comments on the IEP about promises that were made to parents, such as, a progress report would be sent home weekly. So really work with your IEP teams. The IEP team who wrote that IEP may not be the one that's implementing it now. And so they really need to carefully read through those IEPs, not just take a look at the service page and make sure all those services are being done, but any other little things that are in the notes, the case manager really needs to take a look at and make sure that those are being delivered. And sometimes they're not even in the notes. I mean, there may be some in a little box on the IEP. So failure to provide progress reports in 2 cases, and then the others were to implement a resolution agreement, conduct an assessment, and provide prior notice. So for the most part, we probably do need to improve our adherence to timelines as the major one. And so, just try to help. We can use our SACE program and such to try to help get those cleaned up. Should I go forward to Susan?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I said it in my head, I just.
This is the time of year that we have our first notification of intent by any districts to take back program. And so you see the whole schedule. It is really not until December that there's an official determination that they will move forward with that. And then in January, the recommendation goes to the superintendents. We did get 1 notification, and that was from county schools. And county schools is considering creating programs for severely disabled students in preschool to middle school. Now, those students are currently being served through Ontario Montclair School District. So we would need both Ontario Montclair and county on a program transfer review committee to kind of take a look at the impact of those. Also like to at least invite 1 other district or more, if you would prefer to participate, to see how those programs, if you in particular would be affected by that transfer. Peggy, do you have any more detail or anything you want to add?
Well, other than 3 districts have asked me for this, and it seems that the people north of the 10 are the ones that are mostly impacted, with the parents not wanting to send their kids over to the other side of the freeway. So that's where it really came about.
Yeah.
I do have a elementary school where I could house an elementary class. As of today, I don't have a middle school because, as you know, middle schools campuses are very impacted, and there's just not a lot of availability. But I continue to work with the school districts north of there to find a middle school placement. So that's where we are right now. Currently, I can
So
tell
it would
you
be
that
particularly good then if somebody from
Etowanda
the northern
Central or
schools.
Upland. And Upland has the most students. She sends 46 kids over there. Jean sends 11 and Central sends 11. And those are, I don't have stats on the other ones because those are the 3 that asked me to bring it forward.
Yeah. So Lori would like to be on the transfer.
Yes, but I definitely want to be